Hey Cornerstone, welcome to our first virtual holiday paint event. Can't wait to get this painting started with you. Before we get started, make sure you have your paint, your canvas with your reindeer on it, and your 2 paintbrushes. You can also grab a paper towel, maybe a little cup of water if you want to get a snack, some hot chocolate to eat with your candy cane. And let's get started now to do this masterpiece of your very own. Grab your stuff. Let's go. All right, friends, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up all of our paint. Once you open up all of your paint, we're going to use the tiny skinny brush. This is going to help us do all of our outline for the painting. And we will start by tracing all of the lines of our painting. So we're going to start at the top and work all the way down. So we're going to take our skinny brush and we're just going to dip it just a little bit. And then we're going to start tracing our masterpiece. So you're going to trace all these lines. Take your time. If this video starts going too fast, you can always have your mom and dad pause it, and then we can come back and hit play and catch up. So I'm going to just slowly begin to go around these edges. Take your time. Like I said, there's no rush. You guys get to sit at home and relax and just have fun doing this painting with your family or your friends. We're going to just continue to outline all of our shapes. This is going to help us when we start filling in with all the color. So we're going to just continue to trace our lines. When we go back and add all of our beautiful color at the end, if there's any lines that you think you messed up, we'll be able to fix that with your color. So just like we do in class, you guys are going to outline, but this time we're outlining first. I know we normally outline at the very end, but today we're going to do something just a little bit different. So let's continue. If you feel like there's a space that needs a little more paint, you can dip. Try not to use too much paint, because if you use too much paint, then it can drip on your canvas somewhere that you might not want the black to be. So just take your time. This is going to make it look like a color book. So it'll be a whole lot easier to fill in once you have this outlined. Just like that. Now we're going to go down to our reindeer. Make sure, friends, that if your paint is on the side, it'll be a little bit better so that you don't touch like this and mess up your black. So put your paint on the side, and then we're going to start with the antlers. We're going to work our way down just so that we don't accidentally put our hand or our arm on the black and smear it. The great thing, though, is if that does happen, you guys can always go back with your paint and cover it up. So I don't want you to panic if you accidentally drop a paint somewhere, or if you accidentally smear a little spot. We can totally go back and fix that up with another color. So continue to just take your time. Make it nice and neat. This is going to be a really fun painting with the holidays coming that you can put up somewhere in your house to help decorate. Or you could paint it and give it as a gift to somebody that might like a painting in their home. We're going to just take our time. Now, here's another tip. As you are outlining, try not to press really, really hard. If you press too hard, your lines are going to be really, really thick. But if you press lightly, then your lines will be a little bit thinner. So I'm going to just take my time, fill in my eyes, fill in the rest here. Now again, be extra careful that you are not touching the wet paint with your hands. We're taking our time, just like you guys do in school. Do your very best. There we go. We're starting to bring this little guy to life. So continue. We're going to outline all of this. The only line we are not going to outline will be this line that has the snow. The reindeer, this little reindeer is sitting in some snow. So we are going to not outline just that long line at the bottom. Now, if you guys do outline it, that's okay too. You have the choice of outlining this snow line right along the bottom. So just like this, we're still just taking our time. Gonna fill in his little scarf to keep him nice and cozy and warm. We're gonna fill the edges, friends. We're gonna fill the bottom here. If you guys need help and part of it seems a little tricky, go ahead and ask an adult to come and help you. So I'm gonna stop my outlining right there. And then once this dries, we're gonna come back and start adding some color. All right, guys, welcome back. Hopefully your painting is nice and dry. We're gonna get started by adding some color. Hopefully you've rinsed your brush, get it nice and clean so that when we go into the other colors, you won't have black in them. So we're gonna start with the small brush again. Let's go ahead and do all of the red details. If you guys remember, in our painting, the lights, the nose, and some parts of the scarf are gonna have red in them. So we're gonna go ahead and dip into the red and start at the tippy top, just like we did when we were outlining. And we're gonna, just like a color book, fill in these spots. Okay. Now, when we do this, we want to try to fill it all in so that we don't see any white. Okay. So get that paint on your brush and just start filling it in. If you go too fast, it might look a little bit messy. So slowly put your paint on and fill it in. Make it nice and neat so it looks like these Christmas lights are glowing. There we go. One more light here. Now again, remember, if I am painting a little bit faster than you are, hit that pause button. And then once you catch up to where I'm at, you can hit play and then keep going. So we have the lights that are red. What else do we have that we need as red? The nose. So let's dip right back into this red paint. We're gonna go right here and start filling in with red. So right along here, we're gonna fill in. Let me just do a little more here, fill in the red. Take our time. I want to make it nice and neat. Now, when your red dries, if you think you want your red to look a little bit darker, wait till your red dries and then you can do another layer of color. Okay? So once you're done filling in your cute little nose here, we're gonna do the scarf. Now the scarf is a pattern. So it's gonna be red, then white, red, then white, red, then white, and it's so on and so on. We're gonna do a pattern. So let's start on the left little square here. Take our time, go around those edges, pull in the paint. And remember what I said when we were outlining. Try not to put too much paint on your brush so that it doesn't drip. Okay, so you load your brush, you go around these edges, fill it in. There we go, it's coming along. Then you're gonna dip again, do the next square. Again, it's that red and white pattern, just like the candy canes you got in your little kit. Red, white, red, white. So skip that little one because that one's white and go right in here. We're gonna take our time, fill it in. Good job. All right. Now I'm gonna take a little more red and fill in this last spot here. All right. Okay. So once you get your red all filled in, go ahead and rinse off your brush. This would be a great spot to pause if you aren't finished with your red yet, so that you can catch up with your red and then get ready for the next color. We are actually going to go back in with black. Okay, so rinse your brush really, really good. Make it nice and clean. And we're going to go in with black now. Now we just have a few more spots for the black. We're going to fill in the little squares on our lights here so that they match the wire. We're going to fill in the antlers. We're going to fill inside the ears and his cute little hooves on his feet. Since he's sitting down, we're looking at the bottom of his little feet. So let's go ahead. Once you're ready, dip into your black, and I'm going to start at the tippy top. Fill it in with this black. Make it nice and neat. There's one. If you want to, you can just keep going. I'm going to dip. Just the littlest amount of paint is all we need to fill in this painting. Just like that. Then I'm going to come right here. I'm going to go right there. So far, we're taking our time. Once you have the red, we'll have this little black along the wires, and then we're going to go into the antlers. So you are going to keep the same brush, and we're going to go right inside the antlers. And we're going to just keep filling it in. Pretty soon, the whole canvas will be full of color. And it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So make sure you fill in both the antlers. You're just taking little dips, bringing it right here. There you go. Right in here. And then in his little feet. All right, and we're gonna just fill in right here. All right, my friends, we have reached another spot. That would be a great time to pause your video if you have not finished all the black details. Once you do that, we will come back and we will start adding the brown on our reindeer and then get into the background. All right, friends, let's keep going. We are now going to start with the background. We're going to, instead of doing the brown, we're going to do our background next. So this time we're going to move to a new brush. Let's go ahead and grab this medium brush, the bigger brush, and we're going to use our blue. Okay. Now here's the trick. When we're filling in, we're going to fill in all the white in the sky behind our reindeer. Okay. So we're going to do a little dip of blue. And we're going to come up to the tippy top. Let's start here. And we're going to bring it down. Be extra careful as you're going around the edges of your wire that you don't go over it. Now, if you do, guess what, guys? It's a super easy fix. You can use your black and you can fix up those edges. So just relax and continue to have fun with this. We're going to go right in this corner. We're just dipping just a tiny bit, and we're going right along the edges. I like to go around my edges first. It makes it a little bit easier, and then I fill in. Just like that. I went around the edges. Now, if there's some spots where you see a little bit of white, you can go ahead and take your brush and go right along the edge and fix it up. So right along these edges. These are the parts that might be a little bit tricky, where you might need a little bit of help, and that's okay. Ask someone around you to come give you a little help to get inside these little spots. All right, so let's continue. We're going to stay at the top. We're going to go right along here. I like to lay my brush flat and then just drag it right gently right next to it. Take your time. All right, there we go. So we're filling it in. We're going to take more, fill in this spot. Now the middle parts, you can go a tiny bit faster because you don't have to worry about hitting the edges of the black or another color. So we're just filling it in just like that. We're going to fill it in here. All right, and we're going to do it up in this spot now. Be very careful around these edges. Now, if it is easier for you to use the little teeny tiny brush, you guys can use that teeny tiny brush too. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to use that smaller brush around the edges, and then you can fill it in with this brush. So take your time. Fill that in. I hope all of you, when you're done with your painting, will share this to our social media page so that we can see all your works of art. All right. So this part we just did, and once you get to this part where I'm at, is probably the trickiest part of the sky. Okay, the rest of it, we are going to just go around the edges and then we'll fill in. Okay, so let's do the same thing, a little dip. Go right along the edge. Again, you might need a teeny tiny bit of help, but I think you guys got it. Right along these edges, right along, just like that. Continue to go around these edges. Okay, so we're going to bring that down once you outline. And we're just going to drag our paint down. So you can work your way around the canvas. If you do it slow and you pull it down just like this, you'll be able to cover all the white. Okay, so we're gonna go around the reindeer now, and you'll have to be a little careful. Again, if you wanna use the little tiny brush, you can use the little tiny brush, but we're gonna go all the way around. Inside these little parts. Just take your time. And again, if it overlaps, you guys, that's okay. That's the good thing about paint, is that if we make a mistake, we can fix it by covering it with more paint. So I'm gonna go between the antlers, do a little dip between the antlers. There we go. I'm gonna keep going all the way around this cute guy here. Now, if you want your parents to help you, maybe they can trace around the reindeer for you, and then you can fill in the rest of it. So just go around those edges. See how I overlapped here and it's a little bit thinner? It's totally okay. As long as you can see where your reindeer is, it's still great, guys. Go ahead and keep filling in. Oh, yeah. I hope you guys have Christmas music playing right now while you're doing your holiday painting. Maybe something like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Jingle Bells. I know it's a little early, but it's never, is it really ever too early for Christmas music? I don't know. So let's go in between. I know some of the teachers here at Cornerstone have already started playing some Christmas music in class. Has your teacher played Christmas music yet? So let's go around the edges, just like that, very carefully, and right along the snow line. Okay, so we are almost done with the sky, guys. And if you're not almost done, it's okay. Take your time. You'll get there. So we're gonna go around just like that. You're doing a great job. You should have plenty of paint to continue to fill in. The reason we did the sky before we did the reindeer is so that the sky can dry a little bit, so that we can add some snow falling at the very end. And I'm going to show you guys a really cool little trick to that. So keep painting, keep filling in your sky. Here's another little tricky part right by his little feet. So you can either use the teeny tiny brush or have someone help you. So I'm going to go right there. I'm going to fill in right here. And this is, again, a great time to pause that video if you need to catch up to get your sky filled in. You're doing a great job, guys. All right, guys, so the next step I'd like to do, if you are ready, is I didn't clean off my brush. Now, if you did, that's okay too. But we're gonna go right into this white. I'm gonna scoot this here with my blue. I want my snow not to be totally white. I want it to have some blue in it. So I'm gonna put some white. There's still a little blue, and it's gonna make a really light blue. This is because our snow is reflective, and it's reflecting the colors of the sky above it. The shadows on snow are normally like a blue color. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna add my white, and look, it's adding some shadows to my snow. Now, if you want your snow all white, guess what? You can do that too. That's totally okay. We're going to fill this in all the way to the edge here. We're just taking our time. I'm using the side of my brush and just doing a nice little bit of blue. All right? Or blue and white. Go ahead after that point and get your brush nice and clean. So I'm just rinsing my brush. You guys, you're getting so close to the very end. Hopefully your masterpiece is turning out amazing. I can't wait to see it. So I'm rinsing my brush, trying to get all the other colors out. All right. So we are going to move to brown now. We need to give our little reindeer friend some color. Okay, so let's go ahead. Make sure your brush is nice and clean. And we're gonna start doing the reindeer. Now be extra careful. Guys, if your painting is super wet down here and you're nervous about smudging it or getting your hand in it, go ahead and you can blow dry it with a blow dryer, or you can just let it dry and pause the video and then come back and do the brown in his body and his head. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna add some brown. We're just dipping in. Be extra careful. Remember we talked about not dripping. So I'm gonna lay down this brown just with some little light strokes and fill him in. If you want to use the small brush because it's a little bit more easy for you, go for it. You guys can use that brown brush. I'm sorry, the small brush. All right, so I'm filling him in. Oh yeah. I bet your paintings look so amazing. All right, so here's the parts, guys. You have to be extra careful around these little details. This is another spot you might have to have mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or auntie or uncle or anyone around you that might be able to help you. You can have them help you go around these edges. You're just very carefully going around the edges, filling it in with paint. Filling it in, going around these amazing little cute eyes. All right, then I'm gonna come about right here, come around, and there we go. Okay, I know that it gets a little bit tricky, but that's okay. You guys are gonna be professionals. So let's keep going. We're gonna do his little cheek over here. There we go. All right, this little guy's looking so cute. I'm gonna turn my brush. All right. So we're still just taking our time, doing our very best and filling in. So now we need to get these cute little ears. So I turn my brush sideways, or I use the little brush and I fill in these ears. Okay. Right around these edges. Turn my brush sideways. All around this edge here. There we go. So I know a few of these spots are a little tricky, but I also know you guys are amazing artists. So you're gonna do a great job. All right, so I'm gonna go around this little cheek right here. Just continue to fill it in wherever I think maybe there needs to be a little bit more. You can add a little bit more. Don't forget, let me fill in there. We need to do his belly. That's right along between his feet, okay? So take your brush, dip it in, and let's go ahead and drag it across and fill in this spot. These little corners can be a little tricky, but just try your best, fill those in there. Up in that corner and bring it down. All right. There we go, guys. So we got some good color in our little dear friend here. I'm gonna bring this down. Once it dries, if you wanna add more color, because you want it to be even darker brown or a richer brown, go ahead and go for it. This is your painting. Even though we're doing this together, if you wanna make yours different and add some different details, that's okay too. You guys are the artist of your canvas. All right, so I'm happy for now with how this looks. So I'm gonna let my brown dry and I'm gonna switch back to my tiny brush. If your brown is not done, go ahead and pause the video and finish the brown and then click play for the next step. All right, guys, so I am now gonna use my tiny brush again, and we're gonna do some amazing little details. We're gonna add a little shine line to each light. We're gonna add a shine to his nose, and we're gonna add some snow falling all around our cute little reindeer. So dip your baby brush in white, and we're gonna go into each little light bulb and just do a little line of white, just like that. Just one little curved line, just like that. You're gonna just curve it in there. That's gonna show us that there's a reflection, that the lights are probably made out of glass, and that it's reflecting the other lights that are around it. So add those little shine lines right into the lights that are over his head. All right, friends, let's add the little shine to his nose, because his nose is nice and shiny. Maybe it's glowing, we don't know. So go ahead, touch with the white and just do a little curved line, just like that. All right, so here comes the fun part. You're gonna rinse your brush or just dab it off on a paper towel. We're not gonna use the brush part of your baby brush. We're gonna flip it over and use the very end of your brush, okay? So what we're gonna do now is the snow. So you're gonna dip in the white, dip the end of the brush, not the brush, but the handle. And you're gonna start putting down little dots. Now here's the thing to remember, friends. A lot of people, when they're putting their little snowdrops, their little snowflakes, they only put it in the sky. Well, when it snows, it doesn't only snow behind us, but it snows on the sides of us, it snows on top of us, in front of us. So one thing to remember is this: drop some snowflakes right in front of your reindeer, because it's snowing in front of him too. Okay, so in front of his antler, in front of his ear, maybe one is even in front of his nose, right by his nose. It's snowing. You guys can make as many snowflakes as you want by just touching your canvas with the very end of your paintbrush. So I'm gonna keep adding snow. I want it to be snowing like it's in Tahoe, where there's snow all around him and it's magical, and it probably tickles because the snowflakes are landing on top of him. That's probably why he looks so happy. He likes the snow. So let end because it's the holidays. So let's go ahead, add as much snow as you want. You can make it like a blizzard if you want. Some are going to be bigger, some might be a little bit smaller. That just means that some are closer to you, some are further away. There we go. You guys are deciding, okay, am I done? Is that enough snow? Keep going, keep adding that snow. Oh yeah. Now, if some of your snowflakes come out and they're not perfect little circles, neither are snowflakes. So that is absolutely perfect. If some look a little oval or sideways, keep going. Snowflakes are all different shapes and sizes. I want to put some more right in front of my little reindeer. Oops, and some on the ground even. Add some snow falling right to the ground, right in front of him. All right. All right, my friends. So I'm going to stop right there and let you catch up with me, and I will be back. All right, guys, I hope you are super happy with your masterpieces. I cannot wait to see them. I hope that you guys share them on social media. The seniors and I want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all your support. Thank you for making their year amazing. Have a happy holiday.